The argument that I want to make to you is that the politics that we need on the left has to recognize that the work will always be hard. That we cannot cancel the folks with whom we disagree. And the same approach to empathy and redemption that we often apply from the base of our progressive ideals has to apply universally. I may disagree deeply with you. You may hate me. But the question of, can I believe in a tomorrow where you disagree with your present you? Can I just believe in a tomorrow where, in fact, you're redeemed? Or are you forever canceled? And the challenge that we have right now is that our politics just doesn't not engage that quality of empathy. It does not ask those questions. It does not believe in the people with whom we disagree. Rather, it says that you are canceled. You're out. You said one thing I disagree with, you're done. The politics that I believe we need is a politics of empathy. And I want to talk a little bit about what I mean by empathy, because it's that kind of word that like self-help gurus use. And anytime that you're talking about words that self-help gurus use, you have to really define them. Scholars of psychology talk about three brands of empathy. They talk about cognitive empathy, the ability to put yourself in somebody's shoes and understand what they might be thinking. They talk about emotional empathy, which is the ability to think about how they might be feeling and maybe feel that too. But the third form that they talk about is the one that I want to talk about today, which is compassionate empathy. Compassionate empathy implies that you don't just think and feel what people are thinking and feeling, but instead you actually use those thoughts and those feelings to do the thing that needs to be done in the moment for the sake of both you and the person across from you. Now, I've thought a lot about what empathy looks like. And the best example that I think I can come up with is the example that comes out of the first time I ever saw a gunshot wound in the emergency room. This young man had been shot just above the knee, and the bullet had nicked that person's artery, meaning that the person was at risk for bleeding out. And you can imagine, just been shot in the leg, this person's trying to hold their wound. Why? Because the entire medical staff is picking at the wound. And the physician in charge ordered a pair of restraints for the patient. They had to get to the wound, and he was blocking them. And she looked at him and said, "I'm really sorry that this is happening to you. I'm really sorry. But the fact of the matter is that if I don't get to this wound, then you could die." If we were to give credence just to that person's feelings in that moment, that person would have died. We would never have touched the wound. And so the argument that I think we have to stand up on is that, yes, we have to have the courage to speak truth to power, but we also have to have the courage to listen to and speak truth to pain. And we have to be willing to stand up and say that our ideals are far bigger than our identities. The substance of the change that we seek is far bigger than the symbolism that may suggest it. And that means sometimes being willing always to confront people in power, but also to sit down and confront people with pain. To have a conversation about what ideals dictate we ought to do in a particular moment.